The Russian soldier is hardy, unpretentious, careless and a convinced fatalist. These traits make him invincible. Poet frontline soldier David Samoilov once wrote in his diary. There are many legends about Russian warriors. Their exploits are known all over the world and inspire respect both among fellow countrymen and citizens of other countries. What is the very riddle of the Russian soldier, which the West cannot unravel in any way? Hello, Newsoldier in touch! The exceptional fighting ability of the Russian soldier in conditions where others surrendered or died has always been a mystery to the West. This phenomenon would be logical if he was fed, shot and dressed better than the soldiers of Western countries at all times. However, as a rule, everything was the opposite. He was armed worse, ate more modestly and dressed more simply, and at the same time still won. The unpretentiousness of the Slavic warriors is described in detail by a Byzantine in the 6th to 7th centuries. They are numerous, hardy, easily endure heat, cold, rain, nakedness, lack of food. The impression of the steadfastness and selflessness of Russian soldiers was sometimes so great that foreigners attributed to them very mystical properties, like they are not afraid of any element because they themselves are the element. Here, to be honest, I want to smile. The army of Russia and even the USSR during the Great Patriotic War is a peasant army with a special character of a farmer soldier, forged in a deadly, centuries-old battle with an extremely aggressive environment. All his life the Russian peasant waged a real war with nature, which did not forgive mistakes and was merciless to idlers. They simply did not survive. The most severe conditions of life were that tempering method from all misfortunes for all time. The first battle shapes the soldier's fatalism into a worldview. Rather, one of two opposite sensations is fixed, which are the basis of soldier's behavior. The first is certainty that you will not be killed, that the theory of probability has protected you with a bulletproof cap. The second, on the contrary, is based on the belief that if not in this, then in another battle you will definitely die. All this is formulated simply: as long as we are alive, we aren't dead. Only with one of these two sensations can one be a frontline soldier. The first type of sensations can be clearly seen in the letter of the artillery ensign A.N. Jeglinski, dated July 14, 1916. War is not at all what you imagine with your mother, he writes from the Western Front to his aunt. The shells, it is true, fly, but not so thickly, and not so many people die. War now is not at all a horror, and indeed, are there horrors in the world? In the end, even out of the most trifling things, one can compose something terrible for oneself, wildly terrible. For example, a projectile flies. If you think about how it will kill you, how you will moan, crawl, how you will slowly live life, it really becomes scary. If you calmly, speculatively look at things, then you reason like this: he can kill you, it's true, but what can you do? After all, fear will not help the cause. Why worry? Bowl in your own fear, suffer without torment. As long as you're alive, breath, enjoy what and how you can, unless it's disgusting to you. Why poison life with fear without use and without need? A life so short and so fickle. And then, if you think here is death, yes, here is death. It will be absolutely terrible. Death is everywhere, and nowhere can you hide from it, because in the end we all must die. And now I'm thinking, I won't die. I won't die, that's all. It doesn't matter what happens here, what is done here, and I almost don't believe that I will die at all. I'm living now, I feel myself. Why I have to think about death? 27 years after another great war, the fighter Pyotr Kukaverov wrote to his sister: "The new year of 1943 is coming soon. I believe he will be happy for us. How I want to live now. I love life and must survive. I know for sure I will never be killed." Kukaverov will die in the same 1943 year. A participant in the Afghan war, artilleryman Colonel Sergei Bukvarev, to the question "Were you superstitious?" answered: "Yes, I was and probably remain superstitious. When I was leaving, my father said to me, 'Sergei, you are there, look after.' And I told him, 'What is there, look after? Here you fought for 4 years from the first to the last day, and you were so lucky that you remained alive. And for others, even 1 day was enough to die.' And then he told me the words that I always repeat: 'This is how it was written for someone.' That's why I'm superstitious. I believe that everything would be okay, and that's probably why it happened. In moments of mortal danger, the instinct of self-preservation awakens in a person, causing a natural feeling of fear, but at the same time the realization of the need to overcome this fear, not to show it to others, while maintaining external calmness, because the inner trembling to some extent still remains. The fact of the matter is that the fight makes demands on a person that are contrary to the instinct of self-preservation, encourages him to perform actions contrary to natural feelings. It is no coincidence that in conditions of extreme stress, such as combat, all the armies of the world use one or another way to alleviate nervous tension in the face of possible violent death. It may be various chemical stimulants, for example alcohol, a complex of psychological means, commander address to personnel, conversation of priests, etc. Sound methods of influencing the psyche, as well as calls, slogans and inspiring cries at the time of the attack, hurrah, Allah Akbar, banzai and so on. They as a rule simultaneously perform a number of functions. The exclusion from the consciousness of the soldiers of a sense of fear in a moment of increased danger, which always accompanies a battle, mobilizing the resolve of the attackers. Strengthening of the sense of community of the military collective, intimidation of the enemy, which is being approached by the attacking mass in a single formidable impulse. In the Russian army, such a battle cry that rides the spirit of the soldiers has long been hurrah. By the way, the fighting spirit itself is one of those elements that creates the image of Russian warrior. Many historians agree that the secret of all the victories of the Russian army lies in it. This combination of moral and psychological qualities determines combat capability. During the war, the morale of the soldiers is supported by the commanders. Its rising is achieved by cultivating ideological convictions, solidarity and courage. An integral part of the formation of fighting spirit is an atmosphere of camaraderie and mutual assistance. Napoleon spoke about the importance of this quality. One soldier with a high fighting spirit is worth 3, deprived of this weapon. What other qualities of Russian soldiers are most feared by opponents? How do you think? Write in the comments below the video. Purposefulness and tenacity. Russian soldier always clearly knows what he is striving for. The ultimate goal of all actions is victory, win every battle or fight and ultimately win the war. As Europeans say about Russians, there are no half measures for them, either everything or nothing. Fortitude is inherent in all Russian soldiers. In any battle, soldiers fight to the last bullet, their last breath. The resilience of Russian guys in defense scares their opponents. Thanks to this quality, many attacks and sieges were repelled. Next trait – courage. Fear is a form of emotional reaction to danger. There is no abstract fear. It happens in front of something, in a certain specific situation. At the same time, a person in an extreme situation is characterized by a feeling of dominant danger due to an assessment of the situation that has arisen. And often, what seemed dangerous a minute ago gives way to another danger and consequently to another fear. For example, fear for oneself is replaced by fear for comrades. Fear of death is replaced by fear of appearing a coward, etc. The type of fear that dominates in the mind of a warrior largely determines his behavior in battle. For Russians, fear is transformed into courage. It is considered a national trait of a Russian person. The ability to save others at the cost of one's own life, to rush at tanks, to cover live shells with one's body, realizing that this is necessary for the motherland, for fellow countrymen, for future generations, is inherent in Russian officers and soldiers. According to the confessions of those who met them in battle, Russians boldly go to their death without fear and hesitation. They believe that if they are destined to die, then death will find them anywhere. These people often say a strange phrase, that there can be no two deaths. Russians despise cowardice in the same way that meanness is despised in other armies. The German military historian General von Pozek noted in his writings, "The Russians often went on the attack on our machine guns and artillery even when their attack was doomed to defeat. They did not pay attention either to the strength of our fire or to their losses." Composure. Sometimes fear causes a state of numbness in a person, deprives him of self-control, provokes inappropriate behavior. In other cases, on the contrary, it forces one to mobilize the will, intensify efforts and intensify combat activity. For Russians, it transforms into composure. Indeed, the ability to maintain clarity of mind in any critical situation is another characteristic feature of Russian soldiers. Russian warrior does not panic. On the battlefield, among the killed and wounded colleagues, being under the bullets of the enemy, he is able to collect his thoughts in a matter of minutes. Many cases are known when in a state close to death, soldiers undertook brilliant tactical actions and often emerged victorious from difficult situations. Friends, if you know such examples, then tell us about them in the comments under the video. A military observer in one of the Austrian newspapers considered composure to be one of the most striking features of the Russian military. He wrote, "Russian pilots are cold-blooded. The Russian attacks may not be planned as well as the French, but in the air, Russian pilots are unshakable and can endure heavy losses without any panic. The Russian pilot is and remains a formidable adversary." Unity and solidarity. And many years ago and now, the Russians amaze everyone with their ability to unite in the most difficult situations. For foreigners, it is a real mystery how, at a moment when everything is going very badly, Russians find strength, rise from their knees, stand shoulder to shoulder, and at this moment they are able to resist the enemies, confidently defending the interests of their country. Engels once noted, there is no way to disperse the Russian battalions. The more menacing the danger, the stronger the soldiers cling to each other. This is true even today. The more dangerous the threat hanging over the country and the Russian people, the stronger the desire to unite and fight for the motherland without a shadow of a doubt. Strength of will. This ability to overcome difficulties helps to withstand the harsh conditions of wartime. Unbending willpower was reflected in various military episodes. Many Russian soldiers, officers, partisans endured torture and bullying of enemies to the end, but did not betray their homeland, did not surrender, and did not give out secret information. The Russian soldier is able to endure want and hardship for a long time. He can endure hunger, cold, lack of basic living conditions for a long time. Special mindset. Here we will say only one thing in the words of the West. You can never say in advance what a Russian will do. As a rule, he shrinks from one extreme to another. His nature is as unusual and complex as this vast and incomprehensible country itself. It should be noted that for 300 years in a row, the Russian soldier has emerged victorious from all wars, changing the reaction of the West from hatred to admiration. What is the reason for such an exceptional combat capability of Russian soldiers? As foreigners think, in genetics, their latest research has established that Russians do not descend from the harmless plowmen, but from warlike Scythians. Distinguished by natural ferocity, this barbarian tribe was also able to show military cunning. The Scythians always lured enemies deep into their territory and then destroyed them. So, subsequently the Russians did with Swedes, with Napoleon and with Hitler. As they have already seen, you cannot fight the Russians on their territory. That's all. Friends, be proud of your origin. Remember, there is no bad nation, there are only bad people. We are leaving to prepare a new story for you, keeping comments open, discuss this issue, supplement it and suggest new topics. Let's make this channel together. Narrated by Maxim Nikulin for Newsoldier channel.